Hi, I'm Jason Cuban, the founder of Cop, and this video is an introduction and a lesson tutorial for all new admins with us. I'll go over things like our standard operating procedures, our member screenings, the chain of command, and typical roles as an administration member, our admin panel, our arbitration, and things of that nature. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to hop online and ask any one of us. We'll be happy to answer your questions. So let's go ahead and get started. I guess the first thing I should cover is what is Cop. And basically it's a member-driven organization that's more of an alert system. We post alerts about speed traps, checkpoints, amber alerts, stolen property, lost pets, traffic alerts, any emergency really that affects our community. And when I say that we're member driven, it means that basically just that. All of our members are volunteers and they post things in real time as they see them, and we try to share those to everybody as much as possible. This way those alerts can get out to everyone. We are not here to bash police. We do not condone violence or violent behavior, and it's always recommended and advised that all of our members maintain a law-abiding conduct. So hopefully that answers some of the questions that people have about why we're here. And if you need more explanation, just ask any one of our other administrators and they'll be happy to explain it to you. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started on the SOP. Our SOP is our standard operating procedures, and it's a document that basically outlines how we govern our organization and our various chapters. We have chapters in various different states, and sometimes we have multiple chapters in those states to help keep the news feed limited to areas of our members. Sometimes we do have statewide chapters, and we see that those news feeds end up getting overloaded, I would say, or bogged down with excessive amounts of posts. And when we have a statewide chapter, then we have just a lot of alerts going, and it's kind of hard for people in a certain area to find alerts that pertain to them without getting a bunch of alerts from other people or other areas. So we're always working on trying to have chapters that are geared towards certain areas of the state. For example, in Virginia, we have two right now. We have the Western Virginia, which covers Shenandoah County, Rockingham County, Greene County, I believe Augusta County. And then we have the Central Virginia one, which handles Richmond, Norfolk, and Roanoke, and of course the surrounding areas. We do have a Virginia Beach group that's going to be opening soon, so we're looking for administrators for that. So that should give you an idea of how we basically do it. Now, the next thing is our administrative panel. Most of our groups will have 8 to 9 administrators. Usually we'll have basically a chapter president. Then we have our security staff, which is usually 2 admins, and their job is basically to make sure that all of our new members are screened properly. We want to try to avoid having like the spam bots that we get in. And we often have a lot of people from the Asian culture or from over in China try to join so they can post ads for sunglasses. So our screening process is basically to cut down on that. We do have officers who join our group under assumed identities, and they monitor our conduct to make sure that we're not promoting violence or other criminal activities. So just be aware of that when you are here and you are a member or an administrator, that our conduct is constantly under scrutiny. So we always expect our staff to act professional and within accordance of law. So definitely make sure you're up to date on your state laws. The standard operating procedure, it goes over things such as membership requirements, rules and regulations. There is a section in there called Permaban, which is the rules and the details about what constitutes as a permanent ban on the first offense. And those things are like posting child pornography, assaulting or verbally assaulting or attacking our staff members or our regular members. and just things that are pretty much common sense. We have a regular banishment, which in the SOP it states that no initial ban can be more than 30 days unless it's a perma ban, and those rules are outlined in detail as well. We also go over our arbitration system, where if a member decides that they want to submit a formal complaint on our website, it governs how we handle those complaints, how they're investigated, and how they're ruled upon, and everybody has a say. One of the big things about the SOP that gets overlooked is we do not permit posting of information. Well, I don't want to call it information. We'll call it comments or threads that don't pertain to our mission statement. While we agree that freedom of speech is an important thing to have and a right to exercise, certain posts just don't fall under our mission statement, and for that reason we have the Spot a Cop open forum on Facebook, where members can go and post their opinions and points of view without being held to the limitations of the initial post on the Spot a Cop groups. And another thing to point out is that in the Western Virginia chapter, we started a community alert page which allows us to post things like lost pets and stolen property, scam alerts, things like that, so that it keeps our news feed down and keeps that limited to actual emergency alerts. So just bear that in mind. Being that you are going to be a new admin here, I always tell my administrators that it takes a special person to be an activist. It's not for everybody, because you're basically putting your name and yourself on the line, and you're fighting for the rights of everybody else, and that does take a special person. So keep that in mind when you're joining, that we do appreciate the fact that you're willing to take on that responsibility, and we respect that. So, a big thank you to everybody that's joined us and that will join. And I think the last thing about the standard operating procedure to point out is that it's basically the final rule. It's the final say-so. We do not divert from the standard operating procedures, even though sometimes we feel like sometimes the SOP just doesn't quite govern the situation at hand. We try to follow it to the best of our ability. The standard operating procedure is listed on our webpage and on every single chapter as the pinned post. So if you need to reference that, you can go to any of those places to find it. Our website, we have actually 4 mirror servers at the time of this video. I'll give you the easiest one to remember. It's spotacop.43net.net. I think that's right. I'll double check, but I'll make sure that's listed in the video description. I know another one is spot-a-cop. So in this video, let's cover what to do when there is a formal complaint. Let's give an example. We had some people who were violating a rule. One of the rules that we have that we usually stick by pretty hard is we do not allow slandering of police officers. Even though in this day and age they earn those slanders, we still don't permit that. We're not here to bash police, so we ask that you use a respectful term when dealing with them. Law enforcement, Leo, officer, police, cop, road pirate is actually an acceptable term. These are things that we will allow. We will not allow pig, bacon, stuff like that, derogatory terms. So we had an issue where we had someone that was just being flat out belligerent about the police, and I believe it was another member that had called him out on it, and it went back and forth, and before you knew it, they were attacking each other. Some pretty harsh things were said, and one of the members decided that she wanted to go ahead and post a formal complaint. Now, before, all that was required was you would private message an administrator and you say, I want to form this complaint against so-and-so, and here's why, and they'd give the reason. While that's still acceptable, we have started a new complaint section on our website where they can go and they can post what they're complaining about, and it goes straight to our website, and it's tied into all 4 servers, and it's also tied into our administration section of the website. You probably are viewing this video from the administration site as we speak, so you're probably already there. If not, I will tell you that it requires login credentials, and you can obtain those through your chapter president, the administration group on Facebook, or any security administrator on any chapter for that matter. It is a login ID and password, so you'll need that to get to that section of the site. However, you can still check the complaints by clicking on the complaint tab on our website, and there's no login required for that. Once we have a complaint that we receive, it goes through a certain process. The first process is we dispatch an administrator to investigate the issue. And usually, before we can even dispatch someone, 2 or 3 administrators have already gotten on and looked it over. Usually we catch screenshots of what's going on, and then we put it up for a vote. Now, this is a short version of what we do, and it's acceptable provided that there's enough evidence right there that the person has violated the standard operating procedures, member rules, and guidelines. And that short line is basically you need to have at least 2 administrators in agreement on any ban or suspension. That means you could go in and see a problem and go on the administrator group and say, I need a second for banning this person for this reason. We do ask that you take a screenshot and post that so that we have that for record. Ooh, and that's something I need to point out too. Please post all of the suspensions on a comment reply to the pinned post on your administrative group, not on the actual chapter. So that way we have a record of it. We need to list who it is, what the violation was, and how long the termination is for. Then the administrator must go in after getting approval and go into the member site and click on their name, or in some cases you have to type in the name to find it. Just under the name you'll see a gear icon. You click that and click block. Not remove, but block. The reason we click block is because that will prevent that person from coming back and applying for membership again before their suspension is up. That'll also help keep those who have been permanently banned or perma-banned from gaining access. Keep in mind, there's always somebody trying to find a way to get around, so we have had people who have been banned before sign up for new accounts and then try to log in or request membership. This, I would refer back to the screening process of the account needs to be at least 30 days or older on Facebook. And usually suspensions don't last more than 30 days. I'll tell you this, all basic beginning initial bans cannot be more than 30 days. So by the time their account is eligible, they would have already served their suspension. In which case we deny that one and reinstate their old one. We also ask that when you do suspend somebody that you send them a private message explaining why they were suspended and that they were voted for suspension by the administration panel, and that consists of up to 9 people of the group that are staff members. Alright, I think that pretty much covers this section about the banishment and the suspensions. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we'll start the next video in just a second. In this video we will talk about recruiting new administration and staff members. It's very simple. Any admin is more than welcome to bring a new admin along with them or introduce them into the staff division. What we ask is that you know the person or have spent enough time with them on Spot a Cop that you feel they can be trusted. All you really need to do is invite them over to the admin group on Facebook, and that's actually called Spot a Cop Admins. That's plural. And then do an introduction, explain who they are, what position you're assigning them, and what chapter they're working for. And we'll be more than happy to welcome them aboard. And now, staff members, that's a different one. A staff member is not an admin. They don't have authorization that the admins have. However, They work as an assistant to the administrators. So they too can be brought into the admin group. But again, they do not have the same authorizations. So they have to be introduced by name, what group they're going to be on, who they're going to be assisting, and in what department. And you can find a list of all administration departments at the bottom of any SOP on the groups. The only place that it's not at is on the website. We have just the standard operating procedures, but not the list of administrators, because they vary from group to group. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Just, again, make sure you know who they are, make sure they can be trusted, and make sure you alert the group to let them know that they have administrative authority. Well, let me rephrase that. Make sure you alert the group that they have been approved by an administrator to work as either an admin or a staff member. Then go to that group and promote their user access under their name. Remember, you go to the group, you click members, type in their name, or scroll through your list of members, and then click the icon that resembles a gear and select Make Admin. Yes, you can make staff admin members if you feel that the work you need them to do requires them to have that elevated permission. Just bear in mind, the thing that the admins can do are things such as they have the ability to ban, they have the ability to approve people, they have the ability to address reported posts, they have the ability to alter the way the group works, like the group settings and things like that. Now, one thing I do want to point out to all you administrators, under no circumstances are you to change the security level of the group. When we first started Spoticop, we had the group going very strong. It was a couple of years old. We had almost 5,000 members, and then one of our admins had changed the group to secret. I guess she felt that our group should be hidden from the view of the police. Facebook has an undisclosed rule that when you have a group consisting of 250 members or more, you can only upgrade security features, you cannot downgrade them. So in order for us to make it so that the public could receive the alerts, or could continue to receive the alerts, we had to build a whole new group, and then the undertaking of bringing all those members back over seemed impossible, and it took us a good while to get there. Now we are back up to where we once were, but had we not had that problem, we would be over 5,000 members in my chapter alone. Now we have about 5,000 members with all the chapters combined. My group has over 4,887 members the last time I had checked, which was earlier this evening. So we have other groups with 30, 70, 100. You can imagine how far we would have been had we not lost 6 months worth of members. So again, please do not change those settings. You may change the page picture if you want, but do not change the security settings. That must be done by an admin, by a development person only. Alright, that's it, and I think that we may be down to our last video after this. Alright, this is the conclusion of our tutorial on how to operate in Spoticop. This is, again, for the administrators and the staff members. Again, just want to say thank you for your expressed interest in our group and becoming a member. If you have any questions that I did not cover in this video series, just let me know. Post a message to me or ask one of your local administrators for your chapter. I do want to point out we are always looking to incorporate our Spoticop chapters, so we're always looking to get new chapters out there. So if you know anybody, or if you see an area that you think could use a group that we don't have one set up in, let us know. We'll be more than happy to start a new group. We did just start the Washington, D.C. group and one for Arkansas, so we're all about starting those new groups. Please don't hesitate to let us know. Again, we would need someone to run it, and our senior staff will lend their assistance and their current capacities for your new group until you can hire your own staff members. So if you feel that you want to start a new group, by all means, let us know where you want to start it at, and we ask that you stay active on it, stay on top of it. Please don't go dormant or go into hibernation or go on sabbatical, because we have one of those right now that we're dealing with, and we're having an issue trying to keep that group monitored. So just keep that in mind. The only other things I can think of ultimately in conclusion would be just make sure you guys are monitoring your groups, looking for valid posts or invalid posts, getting rid of those ones that don't meet our criteria. Please exercise professionalism when you're operating in an administrative or staff member capacity. We don't want to be bashing our members. Sometimes you have to be stern and assertive, and we understand that. But again, use total professionalism. That's priority number one. And I just want to say thanks again to all of our admins. Want to point out again, Melina Lopez, Tanya Rains, both of them are senior staff members here. My senior staff members for the rest of the group, I just want to give them acknowledgement. We have Crystal Williams. She's our second in command for the security department. So if you can't get a hold of Tanya for some reason, Crystal's a good one to go to. Crystal is one of those, like Melina, who sits quietly in the background and just keeps an eye on things and comes out of the woodwork when needed. We also have Jason Armentrout. He's a new member of the group. You can call him Quasi. He is relatively new, but I've known him for years, so I can vouch for him. He'd be willing to help you out as well. We also have Chris Shirky. Chris is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's our chief marketer. And then we have Josh Jenkins. And Josh is he's a plethora of knowledge and just an extremely outgoing guy that'd be willing to help any one of our admin, staff members, or even our SAC members. So, feel free to give us a shout if you need anything. And I guess that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and any questions, just give us a holler. Okay, I'm back with another video here. This video is about how we operate our chapters. I want to point out in the beginning that the Western Virginia, not West Virginia, Western Virginia chapter is the headquarters chapter. It's the first one we started back in 2013. And that chapter houses the senior staff members. There are 3 main staff members, myself as the founder. Then we have Melina Mateos Lopez, who is our Spada Cop president or chief officer. She's pretty much the head honcho. She's number one in charge. And Melina is one of those who sits quietly in the background and just monitors and only speaks up when there's a need to. She's a great resource to go to if you need help or if you need support in the decision. She's very helpful. Next we have Tanya Rains. Tanya is our organization's chief security officer. She oversees the security departments of every chapter. Now, our security members, each chapter has their own chief security officer that reports directly to Tanya. And they may have multiple staff members working security for them. While they will not be considered administrators, they are still on the staff team, and therefore they should be treated as such. And the administrative rules apply to them as well. The groups themselves are very easy when managing them and using them. It's simply an alert system. Members will go in and register for membership. Once they're screened and approved, they can begin posting. All posts are visible to the public. However, members must be approved by an administrator. Members can invite other members or other people or potential members, but all administrators have the only authorization to approve them. Again, they must be certified for screening applicants. So keep that in mind. If you haven't been certified in membership screening, do not approve members without authorization from another administrator. I think I mentioned it in another video that it's easy to get certified for membership screening. You just have to know the rules, which means they have to be gone over either in a video like this or in the presence of another certified administrator. And usually we defer that to the security staff. Okay, so the member has joined, they've been approved, now they can start posting messages, and their messages must fit the criteria and mission statement. So that means that they can't post photos of undercover police officers. You may post photos of officers in the commission of their duties, but we do not permit posting pictures of them with their families, at their houses, things like that. We do not want anything that would bring unjust repercussions for them performing their duties. Again, you can post them, like if you see an officer pulling somebody over, or if there's a group of officers outside, you can take their picture, that's fine. We just ask that you do not post or do not permit the posting of undercover officers or confidential informants. So the post has been made, it's within guidelines, it follows our mission statement, so that's okay. We ask that every member, and you may want to point this out to new members when you approve them, when you post an alert, please share it to your wall, because that helps it get out to more people. Yes, we want to build our member base because the group is only successful as it is successful with members. So the more members, the more coverage we have, the more alerts we have, the more people we can reach. But we want our service to be able to help those who are not just members, but who are in our community, so they don't have to be members to get those alerts. So again, let everybody know that when they post something like a checkpoint, that's a prime example of something that you definitely want to share to your wall. Admins, I always tell them that when you see a post that's 10 minutes or less, share it to your wall too. All your friends will get to see it, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be saving your own friends and family from having to fall into the speed traps and checkpoints. Alright, that completes this portion of the video, and I'll start the next one shortly.